Hey everyone, good to see you. Hope you've had a good week. Welcome back to your weekly dose of Friday with Friends. Just a little video that I do on a weekly basis now just to introduce you to people, make some connections, tell some stories, have some laughs. Now the last 3 weeks, I've been introducing you to my family. You've met all 3 of my daughters. And this week, we've got a really special guest, which is probably, I would venture to say, the most important member of this family. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, my name is Annette.
This is Annette.
And I'm his wife.
Yay! It's my wife. Now, this is the first time I think we've ever done a video or had a conversation recorded to share with people. We have conversations, but you never hear them. But today it's going to all change. You're going to get to meet Annette, hear a little bit about her, and we're going to see if we can have some fun with this and make it as least awkward as possible. I don't know if we can, but we're going to give it a shot. So, again, like this whole point of this is to make some connections, introduce some stories that you might not have heard. I don't think everybody's heard this story, and I'm going to see if you tell it the way I remember it. How did we meet?
I really don't know. I would say through friends in high school.
Yeah, she doesn't know how we met. I do. So it was in high school. We lived in Greenville, Mississippi. Annette is the smarter of us two on a studious level. She was a really good student. The first time I met her, I walked into a public library, and I'm talking like card catalog and index cards, okay? I walk up to this table that's just beaming with this light, and Annette's sitting at the table, and she's got these stacks of index cards all around her. And I walk in like I've just seen the sun, and introduced myself and said, "Hey, I'm Tony." She looks up for like 2 seconds. She's like, "Hey," and she just keeps on with her work. That's how we met. She doesn't ever remember that. So we met probably 21 years ago now. We've been married for how long? Just kidding. We've been married 15 years. I know that one.
As he looks at his notes.
Yes. We've been married 15 years. So not just in the context of marriage, but I mean, we are still married. We've made it. Just relationally, like for relationships to last, what do you think is the most important thing for that to happen?
You just have to be committed. Because, I mean, anybody can drop out at any time that it gets hard.
Yeah.
So just not giving up.
Stick it out. Yeah, be committed to one another. Stick it out, which is not always easy because we're human and we upset each other a lot. But yeah, commitment. Commitment's a good one. So commitment, I've certainly seen that in our relationship because I have been boneheaded quite a few times over 21 years, and Annette has stayed committed to me. I think that's a pretty good way to describe you as committed. And like, for example, we are in Louisville, Kentucky right now because Annette was committed to a certain path. I'm a little more loosey-goosey, and I'm like, let's just figure this out, see what happens. But we moved to Louisville for her to go to U of L to get her master's degree. So why did you go down that road? Like, what was it about coming to Louisville? Like, we look back 15 years on being here. So what was your master's in?
Art therapy. I wanted to be an art therapist. I guess I made up my mind sometime in high school, so I knew whatever I did was going to have to line up to get me there. Being in Mississippi, the only schools that offered a program in art therapy, well, you can't get it as an undergrad really. So graduate school was Florida, Kentucky, and Illinois. And you had to have an interview. And in order to get to those interviews, we went to the one in Kentucky and the one in Illinois. And I didn't get into the Illinois school.
So what happened to Florida? Like, you always want to go to Florida. Why didn't we just go to Florida?
It was too far. I couldn't get to the interview, I guess.
Oh. Wow.
So anyway, I got into U of L, and we've stayed, and it's been great for our family.
Yep.
It's a really great place for kids.
We love it. We love it. We do have friends in Florida, thankfully, so we can live vicariously through our friends in Florida. Yeah. We do like to see pictures, but we don't live there, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Not yet. That'll be another conversation for another time. Yep, so moved here to Louisville to get your master's, got her master's, and then we started having children.
I did. I got pregnant my last semester of grad school. So I graduated, but then we raised a family. And I did interview throughout the years, but it just never worked out. So I just stayed home. I don't even know if I want to do that anymore, honestly.
Yeah, so
we have a lot of debt from school.
We do.
But we're paying it off.
Yeah, we paid a lot of money to move to Louisville.
But it's totally worth it.
It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. So this might be a little too deep of a question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So moved here to get your undergrad or graduate degree. And by the way, like that commitment thing, so she instilled that in me because once I figured out she had a plan, I was like, uh-oh. Tony got to get a plan now. So I
even gave him an extra year.
She did. She's so gracious. Gosh, I probably needed an extra 5, but she gave me at least 1. So looking back on it, knowing where you are now, master's degree, then did the hardest job in the world as a mom. After that, instead of using the master's degree, like, do you look back on that and have any regrets or like, God, I wish I just would have started working here? Or like looking back on that, how do you feel about the way it all panned out?
I think I feel guilty for racking up the debt, but I'm fine. It's fine.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it's a really cool field, but I mean, the reasoning for getting an education was to make sure that I had a way to bring in income if I didn't get married or whatever. So you have cared for our family well. So
here we are.
I haven't needed to do too much career.
And how different would our family be if it would have gone that route? You know what I mean? Like even the girls and.
I think the main reason I didn't pursue it was because of your job. You had a lot of on call, and my job would have had a lot of on call.
Oh right.
And it just wouldn't have worked. Like we had to take care of the kids, so.
Yeah, we would have had to lock the kids in the basement all the time. That's not good for the psyche.
Sense, so.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. Yeah. If you could do anything, and I know you hate this question, but if you could do anything in the world, no restraints, no financial barriers, no people commitments, if Annette could do whatever she wanted to do, what would you do?
I would do whatever I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it.
Boom! That's the answer I get every time.
Because I don't have a one thing. Like, I want to be warm and around plants.
Florida again, it's Florida. All signs always go to Florida. They always.
I want to be able to like be in nature and move. Yoga, plants, sun. That's like
yoga, plants, and sun. Okay.
That's my life.
It's good that I'm recording this so I can go back to it when I'm thinking about gifts and know what to buy my wife. So because I'm terrible at that. So this whole thing that I'm doing is called Friday with Friends. It's about friendships I have, wanting to connect people with each other to create friendships. So if you could define friendship, what would you say friendship is?
Well, it's hard work. You have to keep communicating with people, and but usually you want to because they're your friend. I would say listening and meeting their needs. So some of my best friends, and some of them I don't even see anymore a whole lot, but what had the most impact on me was that they listened and they met needs and they took care of me somehow, whether it was emotionally or physically or whatever. Somebody that's like-minded and I can laugh with.
Yeah. Well, you have certainly done that for me. You've listened and met my needs. I'm glad we got married. You are my favorite person and my best friend, and I still have a crush on you.
Oh.
And I'm glad that we did this video together. Is there anything else that you want to say to the people out there before we sign off for this episode of Friday with Friends? No. But we always end it with one of these guys. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. This is my wife, Annette Standrod. I'm Tony. It's good to talk to you. This week, we're going to have another guest on. Next week, I'm going to start branching out a little bit and start picking some friends that I've got to get them on here and tell some cool stories. So tune in next week and check that out. But for this week, we're going to roll out of here and enjoy the rest of the weekend. So enjoy your Friday. Thanks, Nettie, for jumping on here. And we'll see you again next week on another episode of Friday with Friends.
Bye.
Bye.